AITA for leaving my partner and refusing to attend court after she went off the pill and punctured our condoms to have a baby. I don't really know how to start this, to be honest. I'm in shock, or maybe it's more like numb disbelief at this point. It feels like I'm living in someone else's life, in someone else's mess. But here I am, sitting on my bed, completely bewildered, and thinking about how I got here. A part of me wants to just get in my car and drive away. But that's not going to solve anything, and running isn't exactly my style, so here's my story. My partner and I have been together for a while, now long enough that we'd settled into our routines, built a life together, and created a shared world of inside jokes, weekend plans, and cozy nights watching movies. It was good. She was the first person I'd felt this connected to in years, and despite our ups and downs, I felt like we'd built something solid. Sure, she was more traditional than me in some ways, more family-oriented, I guess. But we talked it through, especially about the big topics. And the biggest one of all. Kids. I was upfront from the start. I didn't want them. Not ever. I wasn't the guy who'd get a twinge in his heart from a cooing baby or smile when he saw toddlers running around the park. It's just not in me. She'd said that was fine. I remember the conversation so clearly. It was almost 2 years ago now. I told her if she felt differently, she needed to tell me so we wouldn't waste each other's time. And she swore she was on the same page. I don't want kids either, she'd told me, looking me straight in the eyes. She was convincing, and I had no reason to doubt her. Over time, I relaxed into the idea that I'd found someone who wanted the same future as I did. It was reassuring. We even joked about the freedom of being a kid-free couple, about all the things we could do without the responsibility of raising a child. The relief I felt was real. I thought I was in the clear. But lately, things had changed. It started small, almost so subtly that I didn't even catch it at first. She began talking about her friends' kids, showing me pictures on her phone and laughing about the cute things they'd do. She was glued to videos of babies giggling or toddlers stumbling around, which was new, to say the least. I started getting a sinking feeling. Every time she brought it up, it felt like she was testing me, waiting to see if my stance would shift. And the more she kept bringing it up, the more I started to feel a weight on my shoulders. I'd remind her as gently as I could that I wasn't interested in having kids. At first, she'd brush it off with a smile, saying something like, I know, but then the smile faded over time. The conversations became more intense, more insistent. I could feel her frustration mounting, but I didn't know what to do. How do you respond when someone's frustrated with you for sticking to the beliefs you've always had? Then one night, she told me flat out, you'll change your mind someday. I know you will. It felt like a punch to the gut. How could she be so sure? I'd been nothing but consistent. At that moment, I knew I needed to protect myself. I started using condoms, even though she'd been on the pill the whole time. I didn't want to admit it even to myself, but part of me was starting to worry. I felt like I was on edge constantly, watching for some clue that she might be trying to change my mind in ways I hadn't agreed to. I just wanted to make sure we were doubly covered. I thought I was being cautious. I thought I was being smart. Nothing could have prepared me for this morning. She sat me down, looked me dead in the eye, and said, I'm pregnant. Those words barely registered before I felt like my heart stopped. I was stunned. I kept asking how it could have happened, running through every possible scenario in my head. I'd been careful, extra careful. I couldn't understand it. And then she just dropped it on me, like she was telling me she'd burned the toast, not something that was about to change both of our lives forever. She said she hadn't been on the pill for weeks and that she'd punctured the condoms we had in the drawer. My brain was trying to keep up, trying to grasp the enormity of what she was saying. She'd lied to me. She'd manipulated me into the one thing she knew I was dead set against. The worst part, she didn't even look guilty. She didn't apologize or show any sign that what she'd done was wrong. In her mind, this was just something she had to do. She actually said, I knew you'd change your mind. I just had to give you a push. A push. She had to give me a push into something I never wanted. I could feel the anger boiling up, a mix of shock, betrayal, and sheer disbelief. All I could think was, who is this person? Is this the same woman I thought I knew, the one I thought I loved? I told her I couldn't believe she'd do something so twisted, so deceitful. She just stared at me, like I was the one overreacting. Then she hit me with the final punch, saying she'd known for 8 weeks already, that she'd even told her friends. She was planning a future I hadn't consented to, a future that went against everything I'd ever told her I wanted. And she'd kept it a secret, probably hoping I'd come around or feel too guilty to walk away. Now here I am, left with nothing but questions and annoying, sinking feeling. How could I stay with someone capable of such manipulation? Someone who would lie so easily about something so fundamental. Every time I think about it, I feel a surge of anger and hurt. I feel trapped in a situation I never wanted. I can't even begin to imagine being tied to her forever, with this shadow of betrayal hanging over us. Update 1. Firstly, wow. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's reached out positively or not. I didn't expect this kind of response, and I genuinely appreciate all the perspectives, even those that disagree. I came here to put this out there because, honestly, I'm barely holding it together. So many things are racing through my mind, so I'll try to be as clear as I can with the timeline, because people seem to be asking a lot of questions, and I can understand why it's hard to make sense of. It's a mess. A complicated, surreal, devastating mess. A few things to clarify upfront. 1. My partner and I were supposed to be married in a few weeks. We'd been planning this wedding for over a year. It was something we both felt really excited about, or at least that's what I thought. We'd had long, thoughtful, in-depth discussions about our future over the years we've been together, and we both agreed on what we wanted. That included a child-free life. We were in sync, or at least that's what I believe. I'd made it crystal clear. I'm not cut out for fatherhood, it's just not for me. There are several deeply personal reasons behind that decision that I don't feel I need to explain or justify to anyone on the internet. It was something we talked about in depth. I'd have left the relationship a long time ago if I thought she was only pretending to agree. But recently, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, she started to bring up the idea of kids. It started small, like just showing me videos of her friends' babies or casually commenting on how cute they were. It was strange, but I brushed it off, telling myself it was just normal admiration, nothing to worrying about. Then she began talking more seriously, mentioning that she might want to revisit our stance on having kids. This was jarring. It felt like everything I thought I knew about our relationship was on shaky ground. It brought up all the old feelings of insecurity and discomfort around kids. Still, I tried to keep calm and repeat what I'd always said. Kids are not, and never will be, in my plans. Around this time, I actually went ahead and booked a vasectomy through the NHS. It wasn't some impulsive decision. I'd been thinking about it for a long time. It felt like the final, concrete step to ensure that I'd never be in a situation where I'd have a kid I didn't want. Because I couldn't afford to go private, I knew the wait time would be longer, but I figured it was worth it. For those asking about money, yes, things are tight. That's another reason I don't want kids. I don't want to raise a child if I'm not financially and emotionally equipped for it. It wouldn't be fair to anyone involved, least of all the child. But she seemed upset by my decision, acting like I was ruining any chance of having a family with her, even though we had both agreed from the start that we were not going to have kids. And, while I can't stress this enough, she knew my stance, so I thought I was doing everything right, communicating, reinforcing boundaries, planning the vasectomy to make my stance irreversible. But here's where things took a dark turn. She admitted, in no uncertain terms, that she had stopped taking the pill weeks ago without telling me. On top of that, she admitted that she'd tampered with the condoms we used in the meantime. I can't begin to tell you how sickening it is to even type this out. She knew my limits, she knew what I wanted, and still, she acted like she had the right to take that choice away from me. When she confessed, she looked almost calm about it. Like it was something completely reasonable to do to someone you claim to love. In that moment, the world I'd built with her came crashing down. She knew she'd been lying for months, and the kicker. She told me she was 8 weeks pregnant. 8 weeks. She knew she was pregnant for nearly 2 months before she told me. She kept it from me, hoping that I'd change my mind or come around to the idea once the reality was unavoidable. But she didn't just keep it a secret, she told her friends, her family. She'd already started building this story with everyone else, making herself out to be a victim who was hoping her fiancé would come around. All the while, I had no clue. I was completely in the dark, thinking we were still on the same page. So yes, for the people telling me I should man up, I can't express how enraging it is to hear that. To suggest that my feelings, my boundaries, my clearly communicated wishes mean nothing is just dehumanizing. It's not just that I don't want kids, it's that I trusted her with that part of myself, with a commitment to share the same life goals, and she used that trust to manipulate me into something I was never going to be okay with. It's like she thought if she did it without telling me, it would just work out somehow. That's not love, it's deceit. Now, I'm canceling the engagement, something that's causing a whole new set of issues. She's been crying and telling me I'm ruining her life. She's insisting that I'm the one in the wrong for abandoning her, that I'm selfish for not stepping up. But I can't ignore what she's done. She crossed a line that I didn't even know existed in our relationship. She deliberately went against everything we'd agreed upon, lied about it for months, and expected me to roll with it. She's saying that I'm just scared or that I need therapy to deal with my issues around children. Maybe therapy would help, but it wouldn't change the fact that I never wanted kids and that I made that fact clear every step of the way. Some people here are suggesting this is my fault somehow. That maybe I should have seen this coming or that it's wrong to break off the engagement. But I can't see how any of this is my fault. I was consistent, I was honest, and I took every precaution I could. I can't trust her now. I don't know if I ever truly did. And there's no foundation for a relationship without trust. There's no going back from this. For everyone asking if I'd still love her through this, I don't know what love even means to me right now. Love shouldn't be a cage. Love isn't about coercing someone into a future they didn't agree to, isn't about lying to manipulate them into a life that makes you happy while dismissing everything they believe in. It feels like she loved an idea of me more than the real me, and in doing so, tried to force me into the mold of her fantasy, and that, to me, isn't love. So that's where things stand. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I can't stay with someone who would do this. I don't want to raise a child I never wanted. And I don't want to marry someone I can't trust. Right now, I'm just trying to take this one step at a time. I'll keep everyone posted. Update 2. After that initial post, and with all the back and forth in the comments, I knew I needed a professional opinion, so I reached out to a lawyer. I'd never been in a legal situation like this before, so I didn't know what to expect, and I was half expecting them to tell me I was doomed to a lifetime of financial commitment. But to my surprise, my lawyer was calm, clear, and dare I say pretty optimistic about my situation. The first thing she clarified was a small victory in a sea of chaos. Since my ex and I aren't married, I won't automatically be put on the birth certificate. This might not sound like a big deal to most, but it gave me a tiny bit of relief. It's one less legal hurdle to deal with, one less paper trail tying me to a situation I never consented to. But here's the kicker: my ex could still claim that I'm the biological father, and if she pushes hard enough, it could eventually go to court. If that happens, a DNA test would be mandatory. However, the lawyer said that given the evidence, I had texts and conversations where my ex openly admitted to tampering with contraception, there's a decent chance her family might hesitate to take this route. From a legal standpoint, there's no denying that what she did was a form of reproductive coercion. My lawyer seemed confident that, if push came to shove, it wouldn't be a straightforward case for her. But even though my lawyer's words offered a little hope, there were still a lot of potential outcomes that could force me into a parental role or financial support I didn't want. And since we'd be navigating a legal system that doesn't always see things in black and white, my lawyer advised that I tread very carefully. I shouldn't jump to waiving my parental rights just yet, as that could be interpreted as an acknowledgement that I might be the father. So, essentially, I need to bide my time, keep my distance, and stay off the radar while this whole mess unfolds. The suggestion to leave the country until this blows over wasn't said outright, but there was a clear implication that keeping my head low and staying unavailable would work in my favor, at least until more concrete actions are necessary. Then, out of left field, she suggested looking into self-employment. It was vague, and I didn't understand why at first, but after thinking about it, I realized that if I were to go self-employed, It could impact what the court might consider available for child support payments, should the worst-case scenario happen. It's also confusing and surreal trying to think ahead to things I never imagined I'd have to consider. As for the situation with my ex, it's hard to put into words how disorienting it feels. She admitted to tampering with our contraception with no remorse, like it was just another relationship compromise. Her exact words still ring in my head. She started this whole plan 3 months ago when I'd first mentioned my intent to schedule a vasectomy. The sheer audacity. She apparently thought that by sabotaging our contraception, she could get the ball rolling and somehow soften me into this fatherhood role I'd never wanted. And all of it, every lie, every underhanded trick, was to satisfy her need for a future I'd made clear from day one I wanted no part of. It's hard to put into words the level of betrayal I feel. I don't think I'll ever trust someone on that level again. And, in some twisted irony, she tried to make me feel guilty. When I brought up the abortion, she acted like I was the unreasonable one, as if this whole situation wasn't engineered by her own deception. Don't get me wrong, I completely understand it's her right to decide whether or not to keep the pregnancy. But that doesn't mean I should be forced into a lifetime role I never agreed to. Just because it's her body, her choice, doesn't mean I should be cornered into parenthood, especially when every step of this was manipulated from the start. I've held my ground. I've made it clear that I'm not going to be involved in any of this, emotionally or financially. And that brings me to the big question. Has anyone else gone through something like this and come out without being legally bound to pay support? If there's a light at the end of this tunnel, I need to know about it. From what I've gathered in my conversations with my lawyer and digging through legal forums, I think I've got a pretty strong case, but this isn't exactly something you Google for a quick answer. I know the court systems don't typically work in favor of cases like mine, but if there's a way out, I need to find it. It's surreal to be typing this out, honestly. I'm still processing it all, and even now, it feels more like some bizarre nightmare than my real life. I thought I had a future all planned out with someone I trusted, someone who shared the same dreams as me. But it turns out she'd been planning a future of her own, one that she wasn't interested in telling me about until she thought it was too late for me to say no. Well, joke's on her, because I refuse to be roped into a lifetime of regret and resentment. If anyone out there has faced this and managed to avoid legal obligations, or has any advice on self-employment strategies to protect myself, I'd be grateful. This is uncharted territory, and all I know is that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make sure I don't end up a reluctant parent because of someone else's betrayal. Thanks for reading and for any advice you can offer. Update 3. She's pregnant, and she's keeping the baby. She's made it clear that her plan is to have this child, and now she's trying to push me into a corner, making demands as if I agreed to any of this. I didn't. I made my stance clear from the start. I didn't want kids, I wasn't interested in being a father, and I took every step I could to prevent this. But my choice was disregarded. Instead, I'm left to deal with the fallout of her decisions, the consequences of lies and betrayal. And she's acting like I'm the one being unreasonable. After I told her, firmly, that I would not be involved in any way, I cut off communication. I blocked her on everything. I thought that would be enough to send a clear message. This isn't my responsibility. I am not a willing participant in this. But of course, that wasn't the end of it. She's been relentless. 3 letters to my parents' house now, as if dragging my family into this is somehow going to make me change my mind. The last letter really set me off. She included a scan of the embryo, with a note that was practically pleading with me to be involved. She even requested that I submit a DNA sample, as if she could demand that of me. The timing of the scan threw me to 13, maybe 14 weeks in. Which means she's been sitting on this for months. She knew long before she told me. She's been keeping this hidden, planning her reveal, banking on the idea that by the time she dropped the news, I'd be too invested or too guilty to walk away. But that's not going to happen. She thinks this scan photo is going to be some magical turning point for me, some moment of realization where I suddenly accept fatherhood and responsibility. But all it's done is push me further away. And then, of course, there's the legal threat. She's made it clear she's ready to go to court, to drag me through every legal avenue she can find if I don't agree to help. The longer this goes on, the more I find myself despising her. It's not just resentment, it's a deep hatred now. I hate her for what she's done, for the way she's manipulated and used me, and for how casually she thinks she can steamroll over my life. I sent her screenshots of the messages where she'd openly admitted to tampering with birth control. My lawyer suggested it. They said it might make her think twice about taking this to court if she knew I had proof of what she'd done. And for a little while, it seemed like maybe it worked. She went silent. I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd realize that her plan wasn't going to work. But then, this morning, the silence broke. She's pushing forward with legal action, not only against me, but now she's roping in my family, too, as if involving them is going to make me more willing to cooperate. And here's the kicker. She's asking for way more money than what the government would require in a typical child support case. She's pushing for a private arrangement, one that triples what she would actually be entitled to. I have no job now. I lost it last week, and I'm barely holding it together. With no savings to fall back on, this situation feels like a vice tightening around me. She knows I'm struggling financially, but she's still trying to drain me dry. And with every demand, every letter, every reminder of what she's done, I feel more and more trapped. The pressure is overwhelming. It's like my life is slipping through my fingers, all because someone decided to take control of my future without a second thought. I've tried to think of every possible way out of this. I've considered fighting it in court, but I don't have the money or resources to mount a legal battle right now. And the thought of being tied to this situation, forced to pay for a child I never wanted, for the next 18 years. It's suffocating. The only option that keeps running through my head is to disappear entirely, to walk away from all of it. But even that feels like a temporary escape. Update for. Just when I think things might finally calm down, her parents get involved, piling on even more pressure. They're not only backing her up in every way, but now, thanks to them, I've been forced into a court-ordered DNA test. Or, the alternative is to just start paying child support with zero involvement. Let me tell you, I'm at my wit's end. This isn't just a slap in the face, it's a full-on dismantling of my life, courtesy of a lie, manipulation, and people who, for some reason, think I'm the one who needs to see the bigger picture. It's as if my decision to not have children doesn't matter to anyone. Apparently, her parents think they can step in and rewrite my life for me. They've basically told me, prove you're not the father, or start paying up, like they're just calling the shots here. Then there's my own family. My parents keep asking me to reconsider my position, to try to find the positives in this mess, to think about how this might be the best thing to ever happen to me. Really, they know I never wanted kids. They know that this whole thing isn't just some surprise life twist for me, it's an ambush. And yet, they're encouraging me to see it as a blessing. Every time they bring it up, every time they push me to change my mind, it feels like a knife twisting in the wound. I want to scream, but I just can't even find the words anymore. And the worst part, she's out there, probably feeling like she's won. She went behind my back, tampered with birth control, and lied to me. Now she's not only holding the pregnancy over me, but has her parents pushing me into a corner, while mine keep telling me to play nice. Meanwhile, I'm the one left dealing with the fallout of her decisions she made without me, against my will, and in total disregard of my wishes. The lawyer has advised me to avoid a legal battle if possible, and honestly, it's not like I have a choice. I don't have the resources for a long, drawn-out fight, let alone the means to support myself, let alone a child. I'm barely sleeping, I can't focus on anything. Every day feels like a relentless cycle of panic and dread. The thought of my life being derailed permanently, no less because someone else decided to play God with my choices, is more than I can bear. And now that she's got the DNA test on the horizon, it's like she's setting up for the final move in a game I never wanted to play. To top it all off, my parents' comments just haunt me. Every time they try to put a positive spin on this situation, it's like they're telling me that none of what I want matters. It's all about the baby, the child they're imagining, the family picture they're painting in their heads. They're totally ignoring that I didn't want any part of this, and it makes me feel sick every time. I feel like I'm losing everything: my autonomy, my peace of mind, and even the support of the people I thought would stand by me. I've done what I could to make sure this doesn't happen again. I've had a vasectomy, so at least I won't be tricked into fatherhood again, but that doesn't fix the here and now. I'll always have people telling me I should have done things differently, that I should have embraced the unexpected, as if this was some magical gift instead of a betrayal. I feel trapped, angry, and honestly, terrified. I don't know how much more of this I can take. Also, I'm interested in your opinion. Who is AITA in all this?